Some Carpets to Remain by Carolyn Eden. The Butchers were an ugly couple. Although Henry Butcher was a senior civil servant with a chartered accountant wife, to Madeline the stench of abattoirs surrounded them. Janice Butcher's enormous mouth was forever open. The more she talked, the wider the cavern gaped, displaying strong canines, chewing every syllable as if it were rancid gristle. Even when silent, Janice's teeth tended to protrude beyond her scarlet lips, with her tongue darting from cheek to cheek as though foraging for further fleshy morsels. Both the Butchers had flabby, podgy fingers, reminiscent of flattened pork sausages. The Butchers had proudly itemized the wonderful improvements they had foisted upon the 300-year-old cottage that Madeline had convinced Graham to purchase. Linoleum had been placed all over the parquet flooring. Double-glazed pivoting picture windows had replaced the leaded light casements. Ancient oak beams had been smothered with practical white non-drip gloss. At least their plans to remove the insect-infested thatch had been thwarted by some local busybody threatening a preservation order. "We would have appealed, but Brussels beckons, don't you know, so we want the England end sewn up before November. Of course, we're letting it go for a song, considering how much we've already ploughed into this place." The bills were staggering. Graham frowned constantly, muttering about overdrafts and interest rates and the need to economize ad infinitum. But by the following spring, though, the Butcher's major blasphemies had been obliterated, and at long last the cottage had regained much of its charm. Sweet-scented logs smouldered in the magnificently restored grate, and stained oak beams held gleaming brass and copperware. Glaring spotlights had been replaced by subtly shaded standard lamps, and the flamboyant flock wallpaper in the hallways was no more. One thing continued to gall Madeline. A vast swathe of opulent purple carpet stifled the sitting room. Beneath it was wood, yearning to be nourished with polish and cosseted with fringed rugs of autumnal hues. But Graham was adamant. "Absolutely not. There is no way we can run to new carpets this year. Both our cars now going to need a mint spent on them to get through their MOTs, and we can't travel to town on rugs. Unless, sweetheart, you can find magical flying Persian ones." There was no more arguing, not with Graham in that resolute mood. The carpet's purpleness seemed to screech at her every time she entered the sitting room. In certain lights, it became the dreaded maroon of her old school uniform, reminding her of those incarcerated days of Latin verbs and incomprehensible calculus.